Hi guys, welcome back. We've got another flashlight from Wuben, and this time it is the T4, a diminutively small package but a powerful beam. Really like the size on this one. It's just under 10 centimeters long, so it will fit in pretty much any pocket really comfortably. And unlike a lot of sort of small form niche flashlights, this one does deliver the goods. You can see the head on that is pretty much a standard size head for an EDC torch, so it's giving a nice throw on the beam but in a very convenient package. So what have we got here? Well, if we unscrew the back, I'll just show you that we have in there an 18350 battery, 1100 milliamps hour, and nice and simple, slots in. That's actually O-ring sealed on the back. Really nice screw threads on there. You can always tell the quality of something by when you screw those sort of things together, and anything that's made of aluminium, if it's all gritty and horrible feeling, you know that they haven't done their best engineering job in the world. On the Wubens, everything is always really soft and nice and easy to screw together, so they've done a great job making this with the tolerances and stuff. Having the O-rings in there, it's IP68, so you're going to have 2 meters for an hour underwater before things start to go drastically wrong, which just buys you enough time. If you were to drop it in a lake or something like that, you could fish it back out and nothing serious would happen to it. It also gives you confidence if you're using it in heavy rain or high humidity environments. It's definitely going to cope with that just fine. You can see it's got that really nice anodized blue pocket clip on there, and that is also matching the bezel, the anodized blue bezel around the front. The pocket clip does spring right off like so, and it's got some flat ends that it just sits against on there, so it's not going to wear a big hole in your pocket. It's quite a smooth fitment between those two. If you do take that off, it gives you the ability, you've got a 30mm central piece there, so you could in fact mount this, you know, if you wanted to do a tactical mount on this flashlight. You can get a lot of mounts that run a 30mm internal diameter, so you could easily mount this on anything you like, a shotgun or a rifle or something. On the front edge we've got these aggressive pieces jutting out. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about what these things are for, and they talk about them having some kind of defense capability. To be frank, you know, they're not going to make much difference in terms of defensive use. Where they might come into play is if you needed to break some glass or something like that in an emergency. If you were to strike bezel first and one of those points hit on the glass, it's much more likely to break the glass than if it was just a smooth round front end. I mean, if you hit someone with a torch, either way, you know, it's not very nice to get hit by a metal object, but I don't think something protruding a couple of millimeters is going to break the bank in terms of how effective that would be as a self-defense device. You know, flashlights in themselves are fairly useful in terms of self-defense, because you can obviously disorientate someone if they've run right up to you and they're about to attack you. You can put the light in their face, and then if you're really an imminent threat, you could strike them with the light. I think a lot of people talk about striking with lights in a kind of a bit of an over bloated way. You know, it's not going to make a world of difference. If you could throw a really heavy punch, then it's not going to make that much difference to hitting someone with one of these. And if you can't throw a heavy punch and you've got one of these, you're pretty much in the same boat. A light strike to someone that's really determined, even if you hit them with that, it's not going to make a massive amount of difference. So please don't rely on having one of these as kind of thinking that you're going to be Chuck Norris. If someone tries to kill you, your best bet is always going to be to run away extremely quickly. So probably train for cardio rather than training to be a Chuck Norris. So we get back to this. As it's Wuben, of course, we have some interesting functional parts. Now, when I first got this, I couldn't actually make it work. You know, I was trying to turn it on, nothing was happening, and I was thinking, well, I'm clicking that. I was trying to click it multiple times. Of course, I went then and read the instruction manual, as I should have done in the first place. We used to say RTFM, read the fucking manual. I went and did that, and I found out that this back piece will actually pull out and turn. Now, At the moment it's in lock mode, as you can probably see. If I pull it out and turn it once, now it's in duty mode. In duty mode we have the ability to just press the back end lightly. It comes on at 850 lumen power, which 850 is more than enough. Plenty of lumens for pretty much anything you would want to do with an EDC flashlight. Then if we depress that completely and go right through, that will actually now stay on. So that's like a one big click rather than just a light depress. Then once that's on, if we lightly depress it, so a half click pretty much, we can then cycle through the modes. So we have low, which is 5 lumens, perfect for lighting up something in a tent, or if you're in a car, something like that, and you want a long run time. This will give you 70 hours run time. Click it again, we go up to 150 lumens, which is ideal for in small rooms, inside vehicles, because if you go too bright in a vehicle, you're actually blotting everything out. You know, it just whites the whole place out. So you don't want to go 850 for things that are really close range. Like if you're looking under tables and chairs for something on the floor, this would be the lumen setting to go for. And this is going to give you a 2.5 hour run time. Now the 850 will only run for 1 minute, and at that point things start to get pretty hot. So there's a lot of cheap flashlights out there that will give these crazy lumen values, you know, 850, 1000, 1500, and they don't have any sort of safety precaution on them. So what tends to happen is the end becomes red hot and will actually burn you, and will even manage to set fire to things if you just leave them running. So very, very dangerous indeed. Not particularly useful, I don't think, for any sort of tactical application where the last thing you want is something that's going to possibly hurt you or catch you on fire. They tend to get around that by putting kind of, oh, this gets hot or something at the end of the bezel, which is all well and good, but again, you know, you're probably going to forget about that in the heat of the moment, and then the heat of the flashlight's going to remind you. So these guys have been pretty clever, and what they've actually built into it is the fact that after a minute at 850 it will dial itself down, and then it will run at 350 lumens, and it will do that for about an hour. And 350 again is plenty. Once you've had that immediate burst of light, then coming down to 350 is a very, very sensible option. It also prevents you in a drastic situation from keeping that light full on and only having a very short run time on it, because the last thing you want in a very needy situation is to have no light at all. So that was duty. We can then turn it again round to tactical, and that will give us either an 850 with one small press of the button, a half press, and if we go for a full press, we're now on to strobe mode. And those are the only two settings in that mode. It's just either the 850, which will reduce to 350, or the strobe mode in tactical. So I generally have it set on that duty setting. I don't tend to use strobe. I don't know many people that do. There might be very specific reasons in emergency services or something you would put that on as some kind of signal that there's a problem, but for most of us we're probably not going to use strobe other than to mess about and sort of demonstrate the torch's abilities. And it doesn't stop there. As a extra accoutrement to this torch, you can actually buy this piece here, which if we unscrew the back end again, we can add like so, screw that back in, and now we have a torch that you can hold in your knuckles like so. It's going to stop it slipping out. There's lots of ways you could hold that if you were utilizing this one hand with a weapon or something. You could definitely hold it like so, and it would stop it slipping out, and it would, you know, if anything happened and you got knocked or anything, it's not going to slip out of your hand easily. It also has a glass breaker on that side, which kind of puts you into dicey territory. So this is an optional extra, I might add. It doesn't come with the torch itself. You have to buy it separately. It's not particularly expensive. I'll put links in the description for all this. But if you were to roll around with that on the streets, you know, most people are going to think, hey, that would make an ideal defense carry thing. Well, if you carry that defensively, then you're going to have some problems in court if you use it, because clearly they're going to say, well, that's kind of a knuckle duster, why were you carrying that around? You're going to say, well, in case I needed to break some glass. Well, you're not a fireman, you're not in the ambulance service. You're going to struggle to legitimise that in court unless you have a very specific reason, your emergency service or something, to be carrying it. So I would advise against people using that in the UK for defensive tactics. And if you're in another country that has, you know, the ability to legally utilize stuff like that, then go ahead. The likelihood is, if you're in a country that allows things like that, it probably allows a lot better options for self-defense carry. So I would not class that as something that you would want to use defensively. Certainly if you're in a profession where glass breaking or needing to carry that as well as something else at the same time and kind of keep that in your hand, then it is a really, really good little option to go for. Very easy to take on and off. So we'll put the normal pocket clip back on, because that's probably what most of you are going to go with. Now, if you want to charge this up, this is cleverly hidden underneath here, so you can just unscrew that section and then you can see you've got your USB port on there. And being Wuben, of course, they supply you with this rather wonderful USB cable, which also doubles up as a kind of a lanyard. Really, really nice and long, but you can see it looks completely like a lanyard, but fits back together like so. Clips straight back onto here, and then if you so wished, you could attach that to the bottom of the torch. So in short, this is a really, really nice little torch. It's something I would definitely use as an EDC item just because of its form factor. I love the size, very, very handy. It's something you can chuck in the side pocket of a backpack. You can easily carry it in a pocket on your trousers. It's not going to take up too much room, and it's nice and lightweight as well. Weighing in at just under 80 grams or about 2.8 ounces without a battery, so it's not going to be a problem to carry around. You're going to get a charge time on these of about 1.5 hours from completely empty to full, which is pretty standard for this type of flashlight, and you're going to have the standard LED telling you when it's completely charged up, so no problems there. Nice and easy to use. I will definitely be carrying this item. You know, it'll be in my rotation of various different small flashlights, because rather like pocket knives, I've got a few favourites now, and it's kind of nice to chop between them and use something different every now and then. But I would highly recommend this. Being Wuben, of course, it's priced really nicely as well. Considering the quality of engineering on this, it's coming in at about $55 odd in the US, around about the same in UK pounds, and it's going to be about the same in euros as well if you look at the exchange rates. So a great bit of kit for you guys. Check it out. I'll leave links down below. If I've got Amazon links down there, please do use them, because every little penny helps the channel. And talking of helping the channel, I'd really appreciate if you can like and subscribe, share the video. That is really, really appreciated. Every subscriber helps. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. I'll catch you all next time.